inside the house of Daisy Pflaums, Flagler College student who injured herself while trying to surf a storm swell a few months back. Daisy's story is representative of many people whose physical injuries have affected their mental health. Taking it over to you.
I'm Daisy Pflaums, a junior at Flagler College.
Pflaums was surfing a hurricane swell back in September and heard a crack in her neck. She didn't think anything of it since she's had a shoulder injury most of her life and believed it to be that.
I was in pain, but that was typical for the time.
It wasn't until months later, in January, when she realized the full extent of the cracking sound she heard while surfing.
I have 2 spinal fractures in my neck and some other issues going on, which have made it very difficult to do my daily life.
Since then, she's been going to the doctors around 3 times a week for physical therapy and treatment in order to be fully functional again.
It's definitely going interestingly.
Pflaums spent most of her life outside. After moving to Flagler College, it was the first time she lived near a beach, and she used surfing as a way to combat the mental health problems such as depression and anxiety.
Even when I was having a really bad day or really not doing well, I would go out and surf. And even if I didn't catch anything, I would still go out and paddle out and try to find myself in the ocean.
But ever since she was injured, Pflaums hasn't been able to surf at all.
It's been really interesting navigating that, because my typical coping mechanism, which is surfing and being outside and exercising and running, they all kind of don't work because they cause a lot of pain. They exacerbate the issue of my neck.
Not being able to use her normal coping mechanism has caused Pflaums immense amounts of mental turmoil.
When you already struggle with depression and anxiety, it makes life a lot more difficult to handle.
Because of her neck injury, Pflaums has had to spend a lot more time inside resting than she ever has. This is especially difficult for her since she equates being at home with being in a depressive state.
I've had to prioritize my physical health at the same time as my mental health.
Pflaums says this is a tough feat since she has to listen to her body even when she is doing something fun.
That sometimes when I'm in the middle of doing something really fun, or being on campus or in the middle of class, or really at any moment, my body will fail me and I'll be like, oh, it's time for me to go lay flat again.
It's especially hard for Pflaums to force herself to stay indoors when it's a beautiful Florida day outside.
That's really, really difficult, to just have to go and lay when right outside your window is the bright blue sky.
Pflaums knows herself, so she knows going on a run or just moving her body in general would greatly impact her overall well-being. But she can't, as it would cause her more physical strain than she already deals with.
It's been interesting trying to navigate that, and then I get frustrated too with myself that I can't go do that because that's something that I want to do.
Pflaums has had her fair share of mental health struggles in the house she currently lives in. Because of that, she knew staying inside, where in the past bad things have happened to her, would send her over the edge.
My room itself was not always a safe space for me, and in the past, ever since I got injured and found out in January, I have started being able to exist in it in not as much of a depressive state, which is interesting. It's more of a place for rest instead of a place for destruction.
Along with struggling with mental problems, Pflaums struggles with admitting when she needs help. She struggled with depression alone for a very long time. After things hit a low point a year and a half ago, she finally decided to get medicated for depression.
When I went on medication, it really helped me. And I'm very grateful that I started that journey before I injured myself, because I'm not sure where I'd be right now if I didn't have some form of medical help with my depression. And there's no shame in asking to get help, and it's the same thing as there's no shame in going to get help when you're in pain.
Pflaums' struggle with the physical injury that impacted her mental health is common amongst everyday humans, but her final advice is to just simply trust yourself.
I did not trust my body. I thought I was just having the typical pains of life, and that was not true. I had a broken neck. So, yeah.